The lights inside the auction house burned too bright, making everything look harsh and ugly. Rows of cages lined the walls, each one holding a different creature waiting to be sold. Some paced back and forth. Others sat still, their eyes empty and defeated. The air smelled like sweat and fear and something metallic that made Riley want to leave immediately. He shouldn't have come here. This place made him sick. Come on, Riley, just one quick look. Pip chirped beside him, the small bird-like alien bouncing on her feet with excitement. They might have cheap salvage droids. We need parts. Riley crossed his arms and frowned. This isn't a salvage yard. These are living beings. I know, but sometimes they sell broken machines too. Pip tugged at his sleeve. Please? 5 minutes. Before Riley could argue, a loud voice boomed across the room. The auctioneer, a fat insectoid creature with too many arms, gestured wildly at the stage. Next item, very special, very rare. A real dragon from the Draconis sovereignty. The crowd pushed forward. Riley found himself swept along despite wanting to stay back. Wealthy aliens filled the seats, their expensive clothes and jewelry glittering under the lights. Kresh merchants clicked their mandibles together in excitement. Lumens, beings made of living crystal, hummed with interest. In the back, several Skoloth crime lords watched with cold reptilian eyes. Point two guards dragged something onto the stage. No, someone. Riley's breath caught. The dragon was young, maybe equivalent to a human in his 20s. His scales, which should have been vibrant and shining, were dull and cracked. Heavy metal chains wrapped around his body, binding his arms close. But it was his wings that made Riley's stomach turn. They hung at wrong angles, clearly broken, the delicate membrane torn in places. One of his eyes was swollen, completely shut. The other blazed with barely contained fury. He tried to stand tall despite everything. Despite the chains, the injuries, the humiliation. His good, I swept across the crowd with pure hatred. This specimen comes from royal bloodline, the auctioneer announced, waving a datapad. Former military commander, very strong, very fierce. Has some damage, yes, but still useful for many purposes. The crowd laughed. Actually laughed. Looks more like scrap than soldier, someone shouted. How much for just the scales? Another voice called out. I'll give you 50 credits for the fire glands, a Kresh merchant offered, clicking with amusement. The dragon's jaw clenched. Smoke curled from his nostrils, but he said nothing. Riley saw his claws dig into his palms, drawing blood. Starting bid, 100 credits, the auctioneer said. Come now. Surely someone wants a dragon, even a broken one. Silence fell. Nobody raised their hands. The auctioneer's antennae drooped with disappointment. 50 credits then. More silence. The crowd whispered to each other, dismissive and cruel. Riley watched the dragon's shoulders tighten. He knew what came next. If nobody bought him here, he'd be sent somewhere worse. Experimentation labs. Fighting pits where he'd be forced to battle until he died. Or simply killed for parts. Riley noticed something the others didn't. The way the dragon held himself, even broken and chained, showed discipline. Military training. His wounds were fresh, maybe 2 weeks old, but already starting to heal. Dragons were tough. Everyone knew that. And his eyes, even the swollen one, held intelligence and awareness. This wasn't some mindless beast. This was a person who'd been thrown away. Riley knew about being thrown away. About people giving up on things they decided weren't worth saving. 75 credits. A voice rumbled from the back. A massive Skoloth stood, his scales dark green and scarred from countless fights. I'll take him for my arena. Might get a few matches before he dies. The dragons, I found the Skoloth. If looks could kill, that crime lord would have dropped dead instantly. 75. We have 75. The auctioneer sang out, relieved. Going once, going twice. Riley's hand shot up before his brain could catch up with his mouth. 300 credits. Every head in the room turned to stare at him. The silence was deafening. Then someone started laughing. Soon the whole room joined in, the sound echoing off the walls. The human wants a pet, someone wheezed between laughs. He'll use him for scrap metal in his little shop, another voice mocked. Does he even know what dragons eat? He can't afford to feed that thing. Pip grabbed his arm, eyes wide with panic. Riley, what are you doing? That's all our savings. That's rent money. That's 400. The Skoloth growled, not amused anymore. He glared at Riley with naked threat that Riley's heart pounded. 400 credits was more than he had in his account. He'd have to take a loan, go into debt, risk everything he'd built over 5 years of careful saving and hard work. His grandmother's voice echoed in his memory. Everything deserves a chance to work again. 600, Riley said, his voice steady even though his hands shook. The crowd went silent again. This wasn't funny anymore. This was insane. A human mechanic, barely scraping by on the lower levels, bidding against a crime lord for a broken dragon. The Scalith stood, towering over everyone else. 700. Inhuman, you're making a very stupid mistake. Riley met his eyes. He'd dealt with bullies before. 1,000 credits. Final offer. Gasps rippled through the room. Pip made a strangled sound. The auctioneer's antennae shot straight up. The Scalith stared at him for a long moment. Then he smiled, showing all his teeth. Fiend, waste your money, human. When you can't control it, when it tears you apart, remember I warned you. He sat down, but his eyes promised future violence. Sold to the human for 1,000 credits, the auctioneer announced, sounding shocked. Riley's legs felt weak. He just spent money he didn't have on a creature that might actually kill him. Everyone thought he was crazy. Maybe they were right, but when they brought the dragon down from the stage and he passed by Riley, his good eye locked onto his. Not with gratitude, not with relief, with pure suspicion and confusion, like he couldn't figure out what game Riley was playing. Follow me, Riley said quietly. Let's get you out of here. The dragon said nothing, but he followed, chains rattling with each step, while the crowd whispered and laughed behind them. The cargo hauler rattled and shook as Riley drove through the lower levels of Crimson Gate Station. Beside him, Pip sat in nervous silence, clutching the safety bar with both tiny hands. In the back compartment, secured but not locked, the dragon sat motionless. Riley caught glimpses of him in the rear camera feed. He stared at the walls, at the chains still wrapped around him, at everything except Riley. His broken wings were folded tight against his back, probably causing him pain, but he showed none of it. Riley, this is crazy, Pip finally whispered. What are we going to do with the dragon? Where will he even sleep? What if he eats us? Dragons don't eat meat, Riley said, guiding the hauler around a corner. They're mostly mineral-based diet. Metals, crystals, that kind of thing. How do you know that? I read. Riley had spent the last hour of the auction on his data pad, frantically researching everything he could about dragon biology. And they don't randomly attack people. They're not animals. He looked pretty angry back there. Wouldn't you be? After what they did to him. Pip fell silent. They both knew the answer. The workshop appeared ahead, a squat building wedged between a fuel depot and a recycling plant. The sign above the door read Cross Repairs. No job too broken, in fading paint. Riley had bought this place with money his grandmother left him. It wasn't much, but it was as that he parked in a small attached garage and killed the engine. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Riley took a deep breath and opened his door. The back compartment opened with a hiss. The dragon looked up at him. His good eye narrowed with suspicion. Up close, Riley could see more details. Scars on his scales, burns around the chain marks, signs of torture, not just battle damage. Can you walk? Riley asked. That he stood without answering, had to duck his head to avoid hitting the ceiling. Even broken and chained, he was impressive. Easily 8 feet tall with horns that curved back from his skull. His scales were deep bronze color under the dirt and blood. Riley led him inside. The workshop was cluttered with half-finished projects and tools scattered across workbenches. Ship components hung from the ceiling on chains. The smell of oil and metal filled the air. In the back, a small door led to his living quarters. Just a bedroom and bathroom and tiny kitchen. He'd cleared a space in the corner earlier, during the auction, hoping against hope he'd actually win. A heated pad lay on the floor along with some cushions. Water in a large basin. He'd stolen the heated pad from his own bed. The dragon looked at the space, then at him. What do you want from me? His voice surprised Riley. Deep and rough, with an accent he didn't recognize. But clear, intelligent. This was the first time he'd spoken. Right now, I want to get those chains off you, Riley said. They look painful. And then you heal. Rest. Eat something. What? The question came out harsh. What's your plan, human? You paid a fortune for me. Nobody does that without wanting something. Riley grabbed a toolbox and approached slowly. He tensed but didn't back away. I'm going to remove the chains now. This might hurt because they've cut into your scales. Answer my question. I don't have a plan. Riley pulled out a plasma cutter, set it to lowest setting. I saw someone who needed help, so I helped. That's it. Liar. Smoke curled from his nostrils. Humans don't help without profit. I've heard the stories. You'll harvest my scales while I sleep. Sell my blood. Cut out my fire glands when I'm weak. Riley paused, the cutter in his hand. He looked up at him, really looked at him, and saw genuine fear beneath the anger. Someone had hurt this person badly, betrayed him, made him believe the whole universe was cruel. I fix things, he said softly. That's what I do. Engines, droids, life support systems, whatever people bring me. You're broken. I like to help fix you. That's all. Nobody's that kind. My grandmother was. Riley activated the cutter, the blue plasma beam flickering to life. She taught me that everything deserves a chance to work again, even things other people have given up on. He started on the first chain. The metal was cheap, designed to hold but not to last. It fell away in pieces. The dragon watched his hands, his muscles coiled tight like he expected Riley to strike at any moment. This is going to sound strange, Riley continued, working on the second chain, but humans have this saying, we're pack animals. We do better when everyone does better. Your pain doesn't benefit me. Your healing does. Philosophy won't save you when I decide to leave, he said. I know. The third chain clattered to the floor. The door's not locked. You can go whenever you want. Right now if you prefer. That seemed to surprise him more than anything else Riley had said. His eye widened slightly. Riley finished with the chains and stepped back. There. Better. He moved his arms experimentally, wincing as circulation returned. The chain marks had cut deep, some down a bone. He'd been wearing them for weeks at least. You're serious, he said, not quite a question. You let me just walk out. I'm not a slaver. I don't own you. Riley put the cutter away. I bought you time, not you. Time to heal. Time to figure out what you want to do next. If that means leaving right now, okay. If it means staying until you're better, also okay. The dragon stared at him for a long moment. Then he looked at the heated pad, the water, the open workshop around them. His wings shifted slightly, pain crossing his face. I don't understand you, he finally said. That's fine. You don't have to. Riley headed for the door to his quarters. I'm going to make some food. There's mineral supplements in the cabinet if you want them. Or don't. Your choice. He left him standing there, confused and wary. Pip had hidden behind a workbench, peeking out nervously. Riley's hand shook as he closed the door. He just turned his back on a predator who could kill him without much effort. Either this was the bravest or stupidest thing he'd ever done. Through the thin wall, he heard movement, the sound of water, then silence. When he peeked through the crack, the dragon had curled up on the heated pad, his eyes closed, but his breathing too quick for sleep that he was staying. For now. 3 days passed in careful silence. The dragon barely moved from his corner except to drink water and eat the mineral supplements Riley left out. Riley didn't push him, didn't ask questions, just went about his work repairing the endless stream of broken machines that customers brought in. On the fourth day, Riley noticed him watching. Riley was elbow deep in a navigation computer, trying to find why it kept calculating jump coordinates wrong. The dragon sat up on his heated pad, his good eye following Riley's movements as he tested circuits and replaced damaged chips. You hum when you concentrate, he said suddenly. Riley jerked, nearly dropping his scanner. It was the first thing he'd said since that first night. Doi. Yes, some kind of human song. Oh, sorry if it bothers you. It doesn't. He paused. What are you fixing? Nav computer from a transport ship. Owner said it tried to jump them into a star yesterday. Riley held up a melted chip. Found the problem. This regulator burned out. You can fix that. Sure. Just need to replace it and recalibrate the whole system. He pulled out a new chip from his parts bin. Why? The dragon tilted his head slightly. On my world, when something breaks, we replace it entirely. We don't repair. That's wasteful. Riley slotted the new chip into place. And expensive. Most people can't afford to just buy new everything. Dragons can. We mine precious metals. We're wealthy. Good for dragons. Riley didn't mean it to sound bitter, but it came out that way. Down here on stations like this, We fix what we have. We make things last. Silence fell again. Riley focused on the recalibration, running test after test, until the computer started producing correct calculations. He packaged it up for the customer to collect later. When he turned around, the dragon was standing. He moved slowly, testing his weight on legs that had been still too long. His wings stayed folded tight. "I'm Talon," he said. Riley blinked. "What?" "My name. It's Talon." He looked uncomfortable saying it. "You fed me for 4 days and haven't asked. I figured you'd tell me when you wanted to." Riley wiped his greasy hands on a rag. "I'm Reedy. The little bird creature hiding behind the fuel converter is Pip." Pip squeaked and ducked lowered. Talon's mouth twitched slightly. Almost like a smile, but not quite. "Your assistant is afraid of me. Can you blame her? You're pretty scary looking." "I suppose I am." He looked down at himself, at his broken wings and scarred scales. "I was third prince of the Draconis sovereignty, military commander. I led fleets in battle." Riley stayed quiet, letting him talk. "My brother wanted the throne. He accused me of treason, crimes I didn't commit. Our father believed him. I was sentenced to exile." Talon's claws clenched. "The transport taking me to the outer colonies was attacked by slavers. Or perhaps my brother paid them. I don't know anymore. I am sorry." "Why? You didn't betray me." "No, but someone did. That's worth being sorry about." Riley leaned against his workbench. Family betrayal cuts deepest. Talon looked at him sharply. "You speak from experience. My parents died in a transport accident when I was 19. The company said it was mechanical failure. I found out later they'd ignored maintenance reports for months to save money." Riley picked at the rag in his hands. "My whole family was engineers. We taught people to maintain things properly, to care about safety, and a company's greed killed them anyway. That's why you fix things. That's why I fix things right." Riley met his eye. "And why don't give up on broken stuff just because it's damaged?" They looked at each other for a long moment. Something passed between them, an understanding neither put into words. "I can help," Talon said finally. "With repairs. I know starship systems, military vessels, mostly, but the principles are similar. You don't have to, I want to." He moved closer, careful not to crowd him. "You've given me food and safety and asked nothing in return. Let me be useful. Please." The word please coming from him sounded foreign, like he wasn't used to asking for anything. Riley found himself nodding. "Okay, but only if you're feeling up to it. Your wings will heal faster if I move around." Talon looked at the workbench covered in projects. "What needs doing?" That's how it started. Talon proved himself quickly, his large claws surprisingly delicate with small components. He knew things about power systems that Riley had never learned. Riley taught him human engineering shortcuts, ways to repair things with minimal parts. Talon taught him dragon precision techniques, how to work by feel when sensors failed. Pip slowly warmed up to him, especially after he fixed her favorite music player without being asked. Soon she was bringing him small gifts, shiny pieces of scrap metal she found around the station. Riley adjusted the workshop temperature higher, researched that dragons needed heat to heal properly. He didn't mention that it made him sweat constantly. Talon noticed anyway, saw his discomfort, but said nothing. He started working night shifts when it was cooler, letting Riley sleep in peace. They developed a rhythm. Riley would start a project, hit a problem, and Talon would appear at his shoulder with a solution. Or Talon would be stuck on something, and Riley would offer a different perspective. Words became less necessary. A gesture, a look, a grunt of frustration, and the other understood. 2 weeks after the auction, Dr. Orrin arrived. The old Matherian physician was one of the few honest doctors on the station. Riley had called him, spent his last credits on the house call. Talon tensed when the doctor entered, but Riley stayed close, his presence somehow calming. "Your wings can heal," Dr. Orrin said after his examination, "but they need to be set properly first. This will hurt." "I've endured worse," Talon said. "I'm sure you have, but this is different pain. Deep bone pain." Riley squeezed Talon's shoulder gently. "I'll be right here." The procedure took 3 hours. Talon made no sound, but Riley felt him shaking under his hand. He held the stabilizer steady while Dr. Orrin worked, his arms cramping from staying so still, but he refused to let go. When it was finally done, Talon's wings were bound in special braces, held at the correct angle to heal. "Keep them immobilized for 6 weeks," Dr. Orrin instructed. Then gentle exercises. After he left, Talon sagged against the wall, finally showing his exhaustion. Riley brought him water fortified with extra minerals. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For what?" "For staying. For not leaving when it got hard." He looked at Riley with both eyes now, the swelling finally gone. "For caring when you had no reason to." Riley felt warmth spread through his chest that had nothing to do with the workshop temperature. That's what friends do. Friends. Talon tested the word. "I had friends once. Before." "Well, now you have them again." Riley smiled. Even if one of them is a crazy human who spends money he doesn't have on broken dragons. This time, Talon really did smile. The problem started on a Tuesday. Riley was negotiating with a supplier over comm when the call suddenly dropped. He tried reconnecting, but the supplier refused to answer. Strange, since they'd worked together for 3 years, that BY Thursday, 2 more suppliers had cut him off. No explanation, just silence. Friday brought the real message. A Kresh merchant he'd bought parts from for years scuttled into the workshop, his antennae twitching nervously. "I can't sell to you anymore, Riley," he chittered, refusing to meet his eyes. "Why not? Did I do something wrong?" No, you're a good customer. But Vorsak, he said anyone who works with you will regret it." The merchant backed toward the door. "I have family. I can't risk it. I am sorry." He left before Riley could respond. "Vorsak," Talon said from behind him, his voice dark. "The Scalith from the auction. He's angry he didn't get you." Riley slumped against his workbench. "And now he's punishing me for it. I should leave. This is because of me." "Don't." The word came out sharper than Riley intended. He took a breath. "I knew what I was doing at that auction. I made my choice. A choice that's destroying your business. My business survived before expensive suppliers. It'll survive again." Riley straightened up, forced confidence into his voice. "We'll just have to work harder. Take jobs others won't touch." And they did. Word spread quickly about Riley's situation, so the easy jobs dried up. But the desperate customers still came, people who had nowhere else to go. Riley and Talon worked 16-hour days, taking on repairs that most mechanics refused. Dangerous stuff, like cracked fuel cells and damaged reactor cores. Talon watched Riley work himself to exhaustion, and something shifted in him. Riley had saved him, protected him, and now suffered for it. He couldn't stand by and let him struggle alone. One night, after Riley fell asleep at his workbench, Talon carried him to bed. He barely stirred, too tired to wake. Talon returned to the workshop and kept working, his claws steady even in the dim light. By morning, he'd finished 3 jobs Riley had been stuck on. Riley found him still working when he woke, frustrated with himself for sleeping. "You didn't have to do that. I wanted to." Talon set down his tools. "You protect me. Let me protect you." Something passed between them again, that understanding that went deeper than words. Riley nodded. 2 moved to speak. They fell into a new pattern. Riley handled customers and difficult diagnostic work. Talon took on the heavy repairs and detailed precision work. Pip managed the books and kept them organized. Together, they made it work, barely, staying just ahead of bankruptcy point 6 weeks after Dr. Orrin's visit. Talon's wings had healed enough to remove the braces. He extended them carefully in the workshop, the membrane still tender but whole. Riley watched, feeling proud and sad at the same time. Talon could fly now. He could leave if he wanted, but he didn't leave. Instead, he helped Riley more, like he was afraid Riley would disappear if he stopped working. Late one night, Riley found him staring at his reflection in a polished hull panel. His wings were spread, catching the light, showing their span. "You miss flying," Riley said. Talon folded his wings quickly, like he'd been caught doing something wrong. "I miss many things. You can fly now. You could go home." "Home?" He laughed bitter. "My home sold me. My brother wanted me dead." "What home?" "Not that home." Riley moved closer. "Somewhere new. Somewhere better. This workshop is better." Talon met his eyes. "Here, I'm useful. I have purpose. I have." He trailed off, looking uncertain. "Have what?" "I don't know the human word. Partnership? Friendship?" His voice dropped lower. "Something I didn't know I needed until I found it." Riley's chest tightened. Over 3 months together, Talon had become essential to his life. He looked forward to seeing him every morning, worried when he pushed himself too hard, felt proud when he solved a problem Riley couldn't. And lately, he'd been noticing other things too. The way his scales caught the light. How his rare smiles made the day better. The comfort of his presence, that he was developing feelings for a dragon. The realization should have scared him. Instead, it felt right. Before he could say anything, Pip's voice crackled over the comm. Riley, you've got a visitor. Says it's important. They found a well-dressed alien waiting in the front area. Female, reptilian but elegant, wearing clothes that cost more than Riley's whole workshop. I'm looking for Talon, she said in a culture accent. I've heard rumors he's here. Talon went very still behind Riley. So, the alien's face lit up. Talon, you're alive. She moved toward him, stopped when she saw Riley step protectively closer. Oh, I see. What are you doing here? Talon asked, his voice controlled. Looking for you. Things have changed at home. Sarah pulled out a datapad, her expression serious. Your brother's rule is failing. The people are angry. They're calling your name, demanding justice. I'm exiled. They made their choice. Some of us never believed the charges. We've been building resistance, waiting for the right moment. Sarah looked at him intently. We need you, Talon. The people need you. Come home. Let us. Take back what's yours. The workshop went silent. Riley felt the weight of those words, what they meant. A throne, power, justice for what had been done to him. Everything Talon had lost. Talon looked at Riley, then back at Sarah. I need time to think. Of course. But don't take too long. People are suffering under Riven's rule. Sarah handed him the datapad. This has details. Contact me when you decide. After she left, Talon stood frozen, the datapad heavy in his claws. Riley wanted to say something, anything, but the words stuck in his throat. Riley, Talon started, his voice rough. It's okay, he interrupted, even though it wasn't. You should think about it. Really think about it. I don't want. Your people need you. That matters. Talon looked at him, something desperate in his eyes. But he didn't argue, just nodded slowly and walked back to his corner, his wings dragging slightly behind him. Riley watched him go and felt the first crack in the world they'd built together. 2 weeks of tension followed. Talon studied the datapad constantly, reading reports about his homeworld. Riley pretended not to notice, threw himself into work with desperate energy. They barely talked anymore, both afraid of saying the wrong thing. Sarah visited 3 more times, each visit adding more pressure. The resistance needed an answer. People were being executed, children imprisoned, all because of Riven's paranoia about Talon returning. How can I go back? Talon asked Riley one night, his voice breaking the silence. They betrayed me, sold me. Why should I save them? Riley looked up from the engine he was rebuilding. Because you're not them. You're better than the people who hurt you. That's not fair. You're asking me to risk everything for people who gave up on me. I'm not asking anything. Riley set down his wrench. But I know you, Talon. I've watched you for months. You protect. You help. It's who you are down to your bones. And what about what I want? What if I want to stay here? Then stay. Riley's voice cracked slightly. But you'll always wonder if you could have made a difference. If those people suffering could have been saved. They stared at each other, both miserable. The truth hung between them, unspoken but heavy. Talon cared about Riley. Riley cared about Talon. But duty pulled one direction while heart pulled another. The decision was made for them 3 days later. Riley was closing up the workshop when Vorsak appeared with 4 armed guards. He'd almost forgotten about him, too focused on the Talon situation. Human, Vorsak hissed, his scales gleaming in the dim light. You made my life difficult. Time to return the favor. I'm closed. Come back tomorrow. I'm not here for repairs. Vorsak gestured, and his guards spread out, blocking exits. I'm here to collect what should have been mine. Talon emerged from the back room, his eyes blazing. He's not part of this. Oh, but he is. He stole from me. That requires punishment. Vorsak pulled out a wicked curved blade. I'm going to enjoy this. Everything happened fast. The guards rushed forward. Talon lunged to protect Riley, but his wings were still healing, not strong enough for combat. One guard got past him, blade aimed at Riley's chest. Riley dove sideways, grabbed a plasma torch, swung it wildly. The guard dodged easily, laughing at his pathetic attempt. His blade came down. Talon's roar shook the workshop. He threw himself between them, taking the blade in his shoulder instead of letting it hit Riley. Blood sprayed, dark and hot. No! Riley screamed. Something primal woke in him. Rage, pure and bright. This dragon had become everything to him, and these thugs were trying to take him away. The human deathworlder instinct that most species feared suddenly made sense. He stopped thinking, just moved. The plasma torch caught the guard across his face. He screamed and fell back. Riley grabbed a heavy wrench, brought it down on another guard's weapon hand, felt bones crack. Pip appeared from nowhere, shrieking and clawing at faces with her small talons. Talon fought despite his wound, his claws finding targets. Fire bloomed from his mouth, forcing attackers back. Between them, they drove the guards toward the door. Vorsak snarled in fury, realized he was losing. This isn't over, human. I'll kill you both. He fled with his remaining guards. Alarms finally started blaring, station security responding far too late. Riley slammed the door shut and turned to find Talon leaning against a workbench, blood pooling beneath him. Talon! He rushed to him, pressed his hands against the wound. It was deep, too deep. I'm fine. He gasped, but he wasn't. His scales had gone pale. Pip, get Dr. Oren. Now! Riley supported Talon's weight as he sagged. Stay with me. Don't you dare leave me. Had to protect you. Talon's eyes were unfocused. Couldn't let them hurt you. You stupid, brave, impossible dragon. Riley's voice broke. Why would you do that? Because He struggled to focus on Riley's face. Because you matter more than anything. More than thrones or duty or my own life. Dr. Oren arrived and took over, his many hands working quickly. Riley stood back, covered in Talon's blood, shaking so hard his teeth chattered. Pip wrapped small wings around his ankle, offering what comfort she could. Hours passed. Finally, Dr. Oren straightened. He'll live. Dragons are tough. But he needs rest, real rest. Riley collapsed into a chair, relief making him weak. When Talon woke, his first word was Riley's name. Riley rushed to his side, grabbed his clawed hand carefully. How do you feel? Like I fought an army. He managed a weak smile. Did we win? We survived. That's close enough. Riley squeezed his hand gently. You jumped in front of a blade for me. Of course I did. Talon's eyes were serious despite his weakness. Riley, I need to tell you something. Dragons, we bond. Soul-deep connection to one person for life. I didn't mean for it to happen. I try to fight it, but I've bonded to you. Riley's breath caught. What does that mean? It means you're part of me now. My heart knows you as mate, as essential. He looked away, ashamed. I'm sorry. I know humans don't feel that way about other species. Talon, look at me. Riley waited until his eyes met his. I spent the last month terrified you'd leave. Watching you consider going back to your throne made me sick because I didn't want to lose you. I've fallen for you too. But I'm not human. You're the person who makes me laugh. Who fixes things beside me. Who jumped in front of a blade without hesitation. Riley touched his face gently. I don't care about species. I care about you. Talon's eyes shone with emotion. I want to stay. With you. Here. But your people will have to find another hero. He gripped Riley's hand tighter. I've spent my whole life serving duty. Doing what others expected. For once, I'm choosing what I want. And I want this. You. Us. Riley felt his chest tighten with emotion. Are you sure? More sure than I've ever been about anything. They stayed like that, hands linked, both knowing the choice was made. Sarah wouldn't be happy. The resistance would have to find another way. But sometimes, love meant choosing the small happiness over the grand destiny. And for both of them, this choice felt right. News traveled fast on the station. Within days, everyone knew about the fight at Cross Repairs. More importantly, they knew a dragon had chosen a human over a throne. Romance between different species wasn't common, but it happened. This particular story captured imaginations. Customers started returning. Some out of curiosity, others because they genuinely respected what Riley and Talon had built together. The workshop became busy again, busier than before. Sarah visited one final time. Her face was unreadable as she looked at Talon, now healed and standing beside Riley. So you're really staying? She said. I am. Talon's voice was firm. I'm sorry, Sarah. I know you needed me, but I can't be what everyone wants anymore. Can't or won't. Both. Talon took Riley's hand, the gesture deliberate. I found something here worth more than power. Peace. Purpose. Love. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled, sad but genuine. I understand. And honestly, part of me is happy for you. You deserve happiness after everything. What will you do? Riley asked. Find another way. The resistance is strong. We'll manage. Sarah moved toward the door, paused. Take care of him, Riley. He's more precious than he knows. I will. After she left, Talon pulled Riley close, wrapped his wings around him gently. No regrets. Only that I didn't bid higher at that auction. Could have saved us both some trouble. He laughed, the sound warm and real. These days, he laughed often. Life settled into a new rhythm. Riley and Talon ran the workshop together, true partners in every sense. Pip appointed herself their keeper, making sure they actually ate meals and slept occasionally. The station began treating them as a local fixture, the odd couple who fixed anything and never gave up. 3 months after Sarah's last visit, Riley was working late when Talon appeared behind him, looking nervous. I made you something, he said. He held out a necklace, delicate chain holding a small pendant. The pendant was shaped like a wing, crafted from his own shed scales and polished to gleaming. On my world, we give these to our bonded mates. It means forever. Talon's voice was soft. I know humans have different traditions, but I wanted. Riley kissed him, cutting off his words. When he pulled back, he was smiling. Put it on me. Talon's claws were gentle as he fastened it around Riley's neck. The pendant rested just above his heart, warm from Talon's touch. I love you, Riley said simply. In case that wasn't clear, I love you too. Talon touched the pendant gently. My heart, my home. They stood in the quiet workshop, surrounded by half-finished projects and the smell of metal and oil. Not glamorous, not a palace or throne room, but Pip chose that moment to burst in, chattering excitedly. Big ship just docked. Official looking. They're asking for Talon. Riley and Talon exchanged worried looks. Had Riven found him? But when they went outside, the ship bore no royal markings. Instead, a delegation of ordinary dragons stood waiting, workers and soldiers and families. An elderly female stepped forward. Prince Talon, forgive our intrusion. We've come with news. I'm not a prince anymore, Talon said carefully. Perhaps not, but we thought you should know Riven is dead. The resistance succeeded. Your brother fell in battle 3 weeks ago. Shock rippled through Talon. Riley gripped his hand, offering support. They offered me the throne, the elderly dragon continued. I refused. Many of us did. We've established a council instead, voices from all classes. Democracy, like the humans practice. She smiled. We learned from you, in a way. That power doesn't require a crown. I'm glad, Talon said, and meant it. My people are free. That's what matters. We wanted you to know you're welcome home anytime. Not as prince, but as citizen. The dragon looked at Riley, at Talon's protective stance. Both of you, if you wish. Thank you. Maybe someday we'll visit. Talon bowed slightly, respectful but not subservient. For now, I'm exactly where I want to be. The delegation left, satisfied. Talon stood quiet for a while, processing. How do you feel? Riley asked. Free. He pulled Riley close. For the first time in my life, truly free. No throne waiting. No duty calling. Just choice. And you choose this? Really? Every single day. Talon kissed the top of his head. You saved me in that auction house. Not just my life, but my soul. You showed me there's more to existence than power and duty. Riley leaned against him, feeling his heartbeat through his scales. You saved me too. I was just going through motions before you. Now I'm actually living. Pip made gagging sound from the doorway. You two are disgusting. Sweet, but disgusting. They laughed, the moment perfect in its simplicity. 1 year after the auction, Riley stood in his expanded workshop. They'd bought the building next door, hired 3 assistants, and taken on an apprentice. The business thrived, reputation spreading across multiple stations. Talon appeared beside him, his wings fully healed and strong. He flew regularly now, but always came back. Always would. Ready? He asked. Riley nodded, touched the wing pendant that never left his neck. Let's finish that freighter repair. Customers picking it up tomorrow. They worked side by side, tools moving in practiced harmony. No words needed, just the comfortable silence of two people who knew each other completely. Pip supervised from her perch, occasionally offering commentary nobody asked for. Later, much later, after the work was done and the lights dimmed, Riley and Talon sat on the roof of the workshop. The station's artificial stars glittered overhead. Talon's wing draped over Riley's shoulders, keeping him warm. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if someone else had bid on me?" Talon asked quietly. "Every day. And every day, I'm grateful I was brave enough to raise my hand. Best 1,000 credits you ever spent." Riley looked at him, this dragon who'd become his whole world, who made him laugh, supported his dreams, and loved him with an intensity that should have been frightening but felt like home. "Best decision I ever made," he corrected. "The credits were just the price. You're the treasure." Talon pulled him closer, his rumbling purr of contentment vibrating through them both. Around them, the station buzzed with life. Ships came and went. People pursued their destinies and dreams. But here, in this small corner of the galaxy, a human mechanic and a dragon prince had found something more valuable than any throne. They'd found each other, and that was enough. More than enough to IT was everything.